One radio message at Spa. That is all it took for 2 years of Ferrari's most carefully managed problem to come back to the surface. You have probably seen the clip by now. Hamilton, mid-race, questioning his own team's strategy over the radio, in a tone Sky politely called spiky. On its own, it is nothing. Drivers complain. But this one is not on its own, and that is the whole point of this video. There is a file on this. 4 radio messages, 2 seasons, 3 different circuits, and 1 team principal who has answered every single episode with the same formula. The thumbnail on this video says they lied. Strong word. By the end, you will have the documents to decide for yourself whether that word is fair or whether the truth is something quieter and, honestly, worse. And I want your answer to one question when we get there. After everything you are about to hear, who at Ferrari actually believes the official version? Start with the fact of the day told flat. Sunday the 19th of July, Belgian Grand Prix. Hamilton's afternoon was already complicated. Contact with Russell on lap 1, a 5-second penalty he and his boss both disputed, damage on the car. And somewhere in the middle of managing all of that, a radio exchange goes out on the world feed in which Hamilton questions the strategy calls coming from his own pit wall. Sky published it the same afternoon with the word spiky in the headline. He finished 4th, 6 seconds from the podium, and told the media he took full responsibility for his weekend. Note that carefully. He took responsibility for the crash in practice, for the penalty corner, for his own driving. The strategy question stayed on the radio. Nobody walked it back. Before we open the rest of this file, do 2 things. Subscribe, because this story has at least 1 more chapter coming, and I will explain exactly when at the end, and drop a comment telling me which country you are watching from, because how you hear a driver arguing with a Ferrari pit wall depends a lot on where you grew up watching this sport. Now, who is the man who has to answer for all of this? And why does his answer matter more than the radio itself? Fred Vasseur is not a spokesman reading lines. He is the team principal of Scuderia Ferrari. He hired his way into this exact situation. He pushed for Hamilton, he restructured the driver's engineering side, and every one of these radio moments lands on his desk before it lands anywhere else, which is why his pattern of responses is the real document here. Keep that phrase in mind, pattern of responses, because it comes back. So let us read the file in order with dates, because the order is the argument. Entry 1. Miami, May of 2025. Hamilton, stuck behind Leclerc with better pace, waits for a team order that takes too long to come. On the radio, broadcast to the world, have a tea break while you're at it, come on. He calls the handling of it not good teamwork. Later in the race, told to give the place back, he asks sarcastically whether the team would like him to let Sainz through as well. Martin Brundle, a man who spent years inside garages like this one, said afterwards that the sarcasm was telling, that it showed how upset Hamilton was. And what did we learn about the conversation behind closed doors? We learned it from Hamilton himself, speaking to Sky. He told his own team principal not to be so sensitive. Sit with that sentence. The driver, publicly, telling the world he had to manage his boss's reaction to his complaint. That is entry 1. Entry 2, Monaco, 3 weeks later. Hamilton finishes 5th, 30 seconds behind 4th, and describes himself as being in no man's land. He says openly that some of the information from his race engineer over the radio was not exactly that clear. A further exchange from the cool-down lap surfaces after the race, and suddenly the entire paddock is talking about the communication between Hamilton and Riccardo Adami. And here is Vasseur's response, on the record, reported by Sky. Hamilton was not upset at all. Not upset at all. File that exact phrase, because it is the one the thumbnail is about. Entry 3, Abu Dhabi, December. Final race of a season. Hamilton himself called disappointing. He crosses the line 8th and sends what turned out to be his sign-off message for the year. Long season, guys. Grazie a tutti. Thank you for your kindness. I'm grateful for all the hard work. I'll always fight for you guys. Always, grazie. And the answer from the pit wall, after that message specifically, was a prolonged silence. To be completely fair, and this matters, Adami had congratulated him on the recovery drive minutes earlier, before that final message. But the sign-off itself was met with nothing. The clip went everywhere, and Ferrari came under public fire for the coldness of it. GP fans reported the whole exchange. In the same week, speaking before the race, Hamilton told the media he was reviewing his personal and team personnel for the new season, how people are used, whether people need to move into different positions to work better. Within months, his race engineer for the new season was Carlo Santi, not Adami. Nobody at Ferrari ever connected those dots on the record. The calendar connected them anyway. Entry 4, China, March of this year, second race of the new season. Hamilton is on the podium, third, his first Grand Prix podium, since November of 2024. A good day on paper and on the radio, broadcast during the race, hard to keep up with these guys. The gap at the flag backed him up, nearly 20 seconds to Russell in second, close to 30 to Antonelli, the winner. Even on his best afternoon in over a year, the message coming out of that cockpit was about what the car could not do. And now entry 5 Spa, 2 weeks ago, the spiky strategy radio, which brings us back to today. So, the interrogation, and I will keep it short. Are these 5 moments the same complaint? No. Miami was about team orders, Monaco about information, Abu Dhabi about warmth, China about pace, Spa about strategy. Do they share one thing? Yes. In every single one, the friction between Hamilton and his own pit wall ended up on a public channel. Has Ferrari ever once said, on the record, that there is a communication problem? Not once. Has Ferrari changed anything that looks like an answer to a communication problem? Yes, the race engineer. The one change you make when the words are the issue, here is where it turns. Put 2 documents side by side with the same flat tone. Document 1, Monaco, May of 2025, the team principal of Ferrari. Hamilton was not upset at all. Document 2, the record, a driver who told his boss not to be so sensitive, who signed off a season into silence, who publicly announced he was reviewing which people around him needed to move, and whose radio has produced a headline in every one of these 5 episodes across 2 seasons. Each of Vasseur's individual answers is defensible on its own. Drivers do vent. Races are stressful. Any single clip really can be nothing. But line the answers up, and they are not answers anymore. They are a formula. Minimize the episode, praise the relationship, wait for the next race. The formula has now run 5 times. And a formula that never changes while the problem repeats tells you the team decided, somewhere along the way, that managing the story was cheaper than fixing the thing the story is about. So here is your vote, and it is not about Hamilton. If you were Vasseur, do you keep running the formula, protect the room, deny everything and absorb the clips? Or do you say out loud once that the communication has not been good enough and take the week of headlines that follows? One of those protects the team today. The other one might be the only thing that protects it next year. Hit like for the formula, comment for the honesty, and if you are not subscribed yet, this is exactly the kind of story you will want to be here for when it runs a 6th time. Now the cost, in numbers that mean something. This is not just noise. Miami. The delayed swap left Hamilton 8th in a race where the sister car was 7th, in a season where Ferrari lost the constructors' fight. China this year, 3rd place, but nearly 30 seconds from the win, and the radio told you the driver knew it in real time. Spa, 4th, 6 seconds from the podium, with a strategy the driver questioned while executing it. Ferrari currently has, by Vasseur's own description after Spa, a car taking real steps forward, upgrades paying off, a driver second in the standings after Russell's retirement, which means every one of these communication misfires now has a price measured in podiums and, if the season stays this close, possibly in a championship. The margin for a team that argues with itself mid-race is gone. There is one more precedent worth putting on the table, because it shows how far this has gone before. China last year, the team orders episode, a Hamilton radio message giving context to the swap was not played on the world broadcast, and Vasseur went to Formula One management about it. Formula One had to issue a public statement, insisting there was no intention of presenting a misleading narrative, that the message was simply not played because of other situations in the race. Think about what that episode tells you. Ferrari's team principal cared enough about how a single radio message framed his team that he took it up with the commercial rights holder. This is not a man who thinks radio clips are trivial. He knows exactly what they cost, which makes the not upset at all formula a choice, not naivety. Structurally, here is why this keeps happening, and it is bigger than any one person. Formula One broadcasts a curated slice of team radio to millions of people, selected for drama, stripped of context. Every team lives with that, but Ferrari lives with it under a magnifying glass no other team faces, with an Italian press corps that turns a sigh into a saga. So the institutional reflex at Maranello, built over decades, is containment. Deny, smooth, move on. The reflex made sense when the product was fine. It stops making sense when the clips keep coming, because at some point the containment itself becomes the story. That point, I would argue, was Abu Dhabi. Now the strongest case for the other side, honestly made. Maybe there is no pattern at all. 5 clips across roughly 30 race weekends is a small number. Hamilton is one of the most scrutinized athletes alive. Every syllable he transmits gets published. And a different driver saying identical things would generate none of these headlines. The engineer change can be read as normal evolution for a driver settling into a new team, and Hamilton flagged personnel changes himself, openly, which is the opposite of hiding. On that reading, Vasseur's formula is not denial. It is proportion. Refusing to feed a media cycle that would happily eat his team alive. That is a defensible position. It is also not the one that survives Abu Dhabi, because proportion does not explain a pit wall going silent on a driver saying thank you. What comes next is the verdict, and it is the part that decides whether the word on the thumbnail was fair. Before I give it to you, subscribe, because the next data point in this file has a date on it, and I will be covering it the moment it exists. Here's the verdict. Did Ferrari lie? In the narrow sense, I cannot prove that, and I will not pretend to. Not upset at all is not falsifiable. Only 2 men know what was said in that room in Monaco. What the documents prove is something more specific, a 2-year gap between what Ferrari says about this relationship and what Ferrari does about it. They said nothing was wrong, 5 separate times in 5 separate ways. They changed the race engineer. They said the driver was not upset. The driver told them, publicly, to be less sensitive. They said it is all noise. Their team principal escalated one radio clip to Formula One's management because of how it made them look. What Hamilton's radio at Spa exposed is not a secret plan. It is that the official version and the operational reality have been pointing in different directions since May of 2025, and the radio channel is the one place the difference keeps leaking through, because it is the one channel Ferrari cannot script. Is that a lie, or is it just how a proud team protects itself in public? I know which way I lean, but it is not proven, and I am not going to pretend it is. It is a question anyone who has read this file in order is entitled to ask, and the file gets its next entry soon. The next Grand Prix weekend is days away, Hamilton sits second in the championship, and the first time that radio crackles under pressure, every broadcaster on the grid will be listening for entry 6. Vasseur will be asked about Spa in the Friday press conference, and you now know the formula well enough to check, in real time, whether he runs it again. So tell me your verdict in the comments, formula or honesty, and which one wins Ferrari a title? Agree or disagree? The comments are the courtroom. If this file was worth your time, the subscribe button is how you get the next entry the day it happens, and the like button tells me to keep building dossiers like this one. Until the next one.